Welcome to the Wolf Mother Podcast, a podcast bridging the human and the being, speaking on spirituality, but rather than trying to escape this reality, we will be grounding and rooting down into everything that is the entirety of this human experience here on Earth. I am Dan Arhakos, space holder and healing facilitator. We will always begin by taking 3 deep breaths together, so you can keep your eyes open, you can close them, whatever feels more comfortable. Deep breath in through the nose. Softly out of the mouth. Deep breath in again through the nose. Again, softly out of the mouth. Last time, deep breath in, and you're going to hold it at the top. Filling the whole body with air. You're going to relax your shoulders. Try to relax your jaw. Now focus on the space in between your eyebrows. When I say 1, you're going to let out a nice sigh with some noise. 3, 2, 1. Today's episode, we will be diving into the topic, what it takes to be a Kambo server. I am seated in space with Dylan Januszewski at Mambo Kambo on Instagram, who is a fantastic Kambo server and phenomenal psychedelic integration coach. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, cool. So we were, many of you know that we have done tons of talks about Kambo before. There are multiple videos on Dylan's Instagram as well as my Instagram and the retreat page. If you don't know this, Dylan is the person that I host retreats with. So we have a lot of videos out there that are a bit more in depth. Today we're not really necessarily going into what a Kambo ceremony is or the science behind it, but we really want to talk about what it takes to be a Kambo server. It's become, as psychedelics are becoming popular, and if you run in these communities, then you know it. If you don't know it, then psychedelics are becoming really popular, and there are people that are actually getting the government to, I guess, allow them to do certain ceremonies under specific guises that we don't need to get into right now, because we could go off on a tangent about those things. But this is a really intense medicine, and so I kind of want to let you speak briefly for the people that have never listened to us before, have never watched anything that we've spoken about, what Kambo is, why we use it, and then we'll just kind of let the conversation continue to unfold.
Yeah, so basically Kambo comes from the Amazon jungle. It comes from a frog called Philomedusa bicolor, and that frog is typically found in the middle to high jungle, for those of you that know what that is. Basically, the frog has picked up a name for itself for producing a medicine called the vaccine of the jungle. It's a very strong, powerful medicine that detoxifies the body. It relieves inflammation, helps with pain, reduce pain. It also does a host of other beautiful things, but typically here in the United States, it's used to kind of connect with the self. It puts you in a meditative state, but it also helps relieve those ailments that we struggle with on a day-to-day basis, and it leaves us feeling clean and ready to kind of move forward. I would say one of the biggest things that I serve on a regular basis, and the thing that really amazes people the most, is Kambo is one of the few successful treatments for Lyme's disease, at least the later stages of Lyme's disease. So it does have the ability to fight off and kill different viruses, parasites, and bacteria and stuff like that. One example from my personal history was I had Kambo a while back, and I tested I had COVID a while back, not Kambo. I also had Kambo. I had COVID a while back, and I tested positive for COVID, and I had all the symptoms and everything, and basically I was told that I was going to keep testing positive for the next 90 days. I'm sure a lot of us were familiar with hearing that. And I served myself Kambo right after I had that happen, and the COVID symptoms were gone, and I was testing negative for COVID. It killed all the COVID in my system and left me feeling clean and clear.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that background.
Yeah.
Cool. So that gives you just an idea of what exactly Kambo does. So in the plant medicine world, a lot of people know Kambo if they've sat with ayahuasca and they go to ayahuasca ceremonies. Kambo is, offered at a lot of these places is the word that we should say. And we, understanding the medicine, highly recommend sitting with the medicine. But that's not even the avenue I want to go down. Within the last 2 years, and I personally have only been around Kambo for the last 2, at the end of this year, it'll be 3 years. But there's a lot of people that serve this medicine, and I think it's really important. I was writing a post basically to talk about the Kambo that Dylan had just served this last weekend. Basically I do not serve Kambo. I am just the facilitator. Mainly, I'm like the cleanup crew at the ceremonies that you do, which I'm honored to be there and grateful to be in the space, but I was kind of reflecting on it and writing about the energetics of it. And then after writing about the energetics of it, I started to kind of dip into the fact that I was writing, like, there are a lot of people that are nervous to sit with this medicine, because if you know what this medicine is, and if you don't know what this medicine is, I feel like the worst thing you could do is Google it.
Yeah, I would say maybe 3-4 years ago it was all good stuff, but just recently, I guess the pharmaceutical companies have really gotten a hold of it, and they started trying to take out the different parts of what makes Kambo so they could sell it individually. And around the same time that they started studying it that way, it really took a dark turn for all sorts of reasons. And I'm probably going to go into a lot of those today when it comes to what it takes to be a Kambo server. But it's looking a little dark on the internet right now.
Yeah. So don't run to Google. Feel free to go to either of our Instagrams, or like there might be certain people that we have in common, and I'm sure they will give you much better and more accurate information. But there is a reason why that dark information is out there, which I know you're going to explain. So I just started writing, and I was like, a lot of people, specifically within the last year, have came to you and been like, I'm ready to sit with the medicine, but I'm only willing to sit with the medicine because of your pre-med background, basically, and the fact that you have that knowledge and the fact that you've been working with Kambo for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And it just started to become more and more of a conversation, to the point where there was a retreat that Dylan was the guest facilitator for Kambo. And these beautiful guests on this retreat had such intense questions. Mm-hmm. And I could not imagine that most Kambo servers would have had that knowledge. And all of those guests were comfortable to sit with Dylan because of the fact that he had those answers and then some. He was answering the questions and then, giving more. So I am going to brag about you a little bit in that respect, because I know, obviously I'm biased. We know this. But at the same time, it was interesting for me to see, because as much as I love this medicine and I'd like to know how to serve it in an emergency situation, I think it's important to note that I should not be the person. I can't look out for certain things. And I know this past weekend you even spoke about somebody who I believe she has some type of medical background as well. And you were kind of like, well, it makes sense that her ceremonies, she understands it. They would be kind of like mine in the sense that she knows what to look for. And when you're going through a Kambo server training, they're not training you on the medical portion of it. So yeah, do with whatever I said. Whatever you will do with what I just said.
So basically, when I am kind of if I was to take in a new client or talk to someone about them receiving Kambo, usually the first thing I do is I actually tell them to go look online and look at what it says online. I'd feel much more comfortable with people knowing the potential risks, I guess, and then I wouldn't say disproving, but I guess disproving the risks as they come along. So basically sending them out to check out the information, coming back to me with what they found, and then I would talk to them about, well, this would only happen in this scenario, this is how I avoid that. This would only happen in this scenario, that's how I would avoid that. So I just find it to be much more above board that way for people to know what they're getting themselves into. And a lot of the stuff online is just not true. So I really like to bring my knowledge to kind of disprove that and show why it's not true. So in a way that someone else understands, but I'm really big on informed consent. However, when it comes down to the medical side of things, I think there's something a lot of people don't really take into account. When it comes to sitting with Kambo, the original Kambo servers were medicine servers. They didn't just serve Kambo. They served many different kinds of plants and medicines and what have you. That knowledge they don't typically pass down in a Kambo ceremony. When you go to learn Kambo from them, they don't pass down all that knowledge. They just pass down Kambo depending on where you're learning. So I think a lot of us are thinking, when we think about Kambo and where it comes from, that all of those people aren't doctors. They kind of trust the medicine, so that's kind of what I should do. However, what is not being thought of and what's not being talked about is, in the jungle, if something was to go wrong, you're in front of the person who knows all of the plant medicines around you. They have different ways of fixing those problems than we do. They might grab one plant and mix it together with another plant, and that'll help you with any symptoms that are kind of starting to cause you problems during your Kambo experience. Now, here in the United States, we don't really have those plants. We've got our own medicinal plants, but most people haven't even had training on how to use those medicinal plants. So I think that's where kind of that Western side of like learning the pre-med route and learning what there is to know about the human body and how different things interact with it, that's really important when it comes to serving Kambo. It's to keeping someone safe. Because like you said, in an emergency situation, if you don't know the right herbs to put together to save someone's life, and you don't know the right protocol to keep them safe, then you could be endangering someone's life by not knowing what you're doing or knowing how to handle the situation. And on top of that, as far as me being a Kambo server, there are a few different things that can happen that are somewhat dangerous in a Kambo ceremony. I've served, I'd say, over 1,000 people.
You've served at least 500 in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I served more before I even met you.
I know.
So,
that's what I'm saying.
So, with all of that, I've never had a single problem. I've never had a person go to the hospital. I've never had anything like that. And I know that sounds like a really low bar, but you'd be surprised. It happens with other servers more often than you might think. And part of that whole process is looking at someone, listening to their symptoms, what they're going through, and being like, I do not think you're a good candidate. Or you're a great candidate. It just depends on where their body's sitting. But someone who's had strokes in the past year, or heart attacks, or are on certain medications, or are a certain age, all those things really can cause problems when the body interacts with Kambo. And those are things that we have to look out for. And that's just a small glimpse into the things that could cause contraindications. It's one of the few things that I'm looking for, or one of the many things that I'm looking for.
I think it's really important to note that we're not saying that you can't be a good Kambo server without a medical background. But what we are saying is something that I know this has bothered you, so this is why I want to bring it up, is people reaching out to Dylan saying, hey, I have this person that's coming to me. I know you serve Kambo and I know you have a pre-med background. Could you tell me if I should be serving them Kambo?
Right.
So, again, just to be clear, not saying that you can't be a good Kambo server without the medical knowledge background. But if you have to ask somebody, I know what you say.
Yeah, I completely agree. In the beginning, when I first learned Kambo and I was a little bit, I would say, naive to the world of plant medicines, I would answer people's questions online, and I really tried to help, but then I recognized a problem. If they don't understand the symptom and why it interacts with Kambo the way that it does, they're not going to understand how to help in the scenario that it goes wrong. So I started telling people back when they reach out to me on Instagram, if you don't know the answer to your own question, then you shouldn't be serving Kambo.
Right.
It's just dangerous. It's not like taking aspirin. It causes a visceral reaction within the body that's really important and really helpful, but there are other things that the body does that are visceral and helpful that in the wrong circumstances can cause you a lot of harm.
Mm-hmm. And so we're not, for those of you that are listening to this, that are not in, that have never sat with the medicine and that are not in the community, we might be freaking you out, and we're not, like, that is not the intention of this conversation. The intention of this conversation was, again, what I had written, and the last line that I had left there was, if you are uncomfortable, this goes for so many different things. If you're uncomfortable to sit with Kambo because you don't really trust the servers or the medicine, making sure, like, question your servers. This isn't just for Kambo, though. This is for everything. Making sure that the breathwork practitioners that you work with know what to look out for. Yoga teachers, obviously, then we could go off on a fucking tangent for days about ayahuasca, but because apparently that's a whole thing in itself. But like, the idea is that you should be able to question your server. So if you've never sat with the medicine before and you've been interested and now you're listening to this conversation, you're like, fuck, I don't even know anything about this. You should be able to contact whoever you're going to sit with and serve, even if it's not Dylan, like, and just ask them questions so that you can have ease.
Yeah. When it comes to, like, even your holistic doctors or even, Western doctors going in, and I would feel uncomfortable if I walked in and said, I'm having pain in my back and in my neck, and they prescribed me medication, and I said, why? And they said, I don't know, I just kind of intuitively felt into it. Like, that would not be a good answer to me. I would take that not comfortably at all.
Okay. This is good because I also want to hit on the point that the medical side of sitting with Kambo is literally just one half of this beautiful pie that we have in front of us. Making sure that the person that you're sitting with, and I feel like this is a good segue to talk about kind of like that darker stuff that's on the internet, is it's important to know that they have a connection spiritually to the spirit of the medicine, as well as they have a connection with the frog itself, and that they carry their energy, because, again, I'm going to let you go off in a second, but no matter what medicine you're sitting with, or if you're just getting, like, energy healing, if you're sitting with somebody who doesn't know how to cleanse themselves out or handle their own energy, you're intaking a part of their energy. So you want to make sure that your Kambo server, yes, understands medically, oh gosh, what could go wrong? What should I be looking out for? What's this reaction in my body? But also that they have that spiritual understanding. But I do agree with you that it shouldn't just be, I have this intuitive feeling to give you Kambo, and this person has no background in understanding how to serve that medicine.
Right. Like, if you have symptoms and you ask them how Kambo is going to help, they should be able to give you a pretty clear answer as to why, how, and what to look for during the experience to know that it's working, stuff like that. At least, to the best of their knowledge, there should be a pretty decent answer that makes you feel comfortable. And although we aren't all scientists or anything like that, we can tell the difference between an answer that makes us feel comfortable and an answer that doesn't really answer our question but is kind of tailored to make us feel comfortable.
Right.
Like answering how your symptoms are going to be affected instead of saying, I intuitively feel that this is going to help you. Mm-hmm. It's a big difference.
Huge.
But as far as like the dangers and the dark side of what you see on Kambo, I guess this is a good time to say that I know of people who have died from Kambo. That's an important thing to say. Now, that's kind of false, what I just said, but there are people who died after a Kambo ceremony. That's a much better way to say it. So basically, there's things that you got to watch out for after and before Kambo ceremonies. For example, I'm going to go through a couple that are really big ones. The medicine itself. There are many frogs out in the jungle that look like the Phylomedusa bicolor. They aren't. They're similar relatives. They're all under Phylomedusa, but they're just relatives. Some of them have no effect. Some of them have some of the peptides Kambo does, and some of them are lethal on contact. So a lot of those dangers that people have when coming in contact with Kambo or having things go wrong after a Kambo ceremony is because that person might not have received Kambo at all. They might have received some other type of frog's excretion that caused some contraindications with their body because it was never meant to be introduced to the body at all. So there's that to look out for, and kind of just to give you an idea of how I circumvent that, I actually collect my own medicine. Anytime I'm getting medicine, I go down to Peru and get it, and Dan can attest to that. You came with me the last time I went to get medicine.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful experience, but it's really important getting these frogs, taking the medicine, thanking them for the medicine, releasing them back into their habitat. It's beautiful, and I think it's a pivotal part of any practice with Kambo.
I think it's also important to note, we do understand, because I feel like some people might be like, well, I serve Kambo, but I can't afford to go down to the jungle to collect my own medicine, nor can I afford to get a medical background. And we understand that, but we're having this conversation based off of what we've seen become very clear in the last year with clients of ours. Questions, comments, and concerns. Once a month, Dylan does, we have a day that's Kambo Day, that we do every single month, and then he's randomly serving people throughout the month as well, especially if he's guest facilitating our retreats or we're having our own retreats. But what I'm trying to say is I understand that not everyone can do that, have the background, or go get the medicine from the frog themselves in the jungle, but this is just, first off, our opinions. So
right.
You can tell us to fuck off if you don't agree. That's fine. But two, this is just from our perspective, or your perspective as you're speaking.
But I also want to say, we don't go to the doctor's office and the doctors say, I didn't have the money to go get trained properly, so this is where I am.
Oh, whoa!
So
Good point.
I understand that money's tight, and if you guys want to know about money-making opportunities, I understand, it happens. It's difficult, but I think it's a pivotal part of getting prepared and trained for ceremony. And I really think of it this way. Out of every Kambo ceremony that I have, I take off a little bit for the medicine and the costs of going down there. I'm able to get down there for pretty cheap. I mean, I got us down to Iquitos for $100 each. It was just getting into the jungle and getting the medicine. That was really the expensive portion of that. But, there are ways to get there, but it isn't
Someone's going to be watching this y'all got $100 plane ticket to Iquitos. How? Sorry.
It happened, though.
It did happen. I'm sorry. Continue.
So there are ways to do it, but there's no way getting around it. The upfront costs of learning to be a Kambo server, they're expensive. It's not just, I learned just outside of New York City and I buy all my medicine from this one person. It's not that easy. And I wish I could say it was. And my knowledge that I have on medicine, I spent $200,000 on on that knowledge, and I'll tell you, I haven't paid any of it back yet. But I spent $200,000
and that's on fucking the college system. That's meant
so don't take my road. There are much better roads, but all I'm saying is if you want to talk about how much it costs to get into serving Kambo properly, I'm definitely more than $200,000 in the hole, so.
Well, if you made the right decision and you went to a college that didn't fuck you in the asshole.
You wouldn't be, but this podcast isn't about my college choices.
But I think it is important to recognize and notice that I know there are going to be people that listen to this that are going to be like, well, I literally just can't do that. And as somebody who the fuck am I, on my opinion, because I'm not a Kambo server, I just feel like you have to do your due diligence as best as you can to make sure that you understand. We have a community member of ours who is so pulled to serve this medicine, and they walk with they already walk with a medicine that they walk so beautifully with, such ethic and morale and integrity, and they just exuberate understanding. But they also are like, I want to be like you, to Dylan. I want to understand what you understand so that there's never any complications, because there was an instance when that person served somebody and there was a complication. And so it's not to say that you can't have this deep, beautiful connection with the spirit of the frog, which I have a really beautiful connection with the frog.
Yeah.
But I think this, again, applies to not just Kambo, but a lot of medicines, all medicines, and all healing modalities, that doing as much training, research, and continued training and continued research is of the utmost importance.
Yeah. One thing I will say is, if you are serving Kambo, you're technically a healer. That's something that you're doing, and I hate using that terminology.
Yeah.
But you're technically a healer if you're serving Kambo. And if you are serving something that's meant to heal other people, you need to be held at the highest standard. Just like doctors, although I know we're not going to medical school, some of us might, but although I know we're not going to medical school, if you're giving someone something to help them and it could potentially cause problems, you have to be held at the highest standard. It's important. It's an important part of the process. And people are trusting you with their safety, their lives, and their healing.
Their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being is in your hands when they step into ceremony.
Right. So I know I'm sounding a little harsh about this whole thing, but I think it's because as a Kambo server, I would want to be held to the highest standard. And for those of you out there that are becoming or want to be Kambo servers, you should be held to the highest standard too. It's an important part of the process, and there's no way to respect the medicine without being held to the highest standard.
Yeah. Is there any closing statement that you'd like to...
I would just say that, be careful where you get your medicine, be careful who's serving you your medicine, and have these types of conversations with them, because it's a big decision. Although most Kambo ceremonies end with the safety and healing that they're meant to, it's important that you have these conversations to really open up your eyes, your community's eyes, really keep everything safe and above board.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening, regardless of what platform you're on. If you're watching this video or if you're listening to this in podcast form, we really appreciate you taking the time to listen. And please comment on this video or reach out. And if you're listening to it on the podcast, head to YouTube. Leave us a comment, ask us more questions. If we've already answered the questions that you have in other videos, we may just refer you to another video, but we're definitely open. If we get enough questions, we will make another video, kind of maybe explaining a bit more of certain things that we said, but we're just trying to keep it really short and concise to the point today, that no matter who you sit with, make sure that your server, your practitioner, is truly qualified to do so. So make sure to follow on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the places. Come to our free monthly integrations that are over Zoom. We'd love to actually see your face and you can see us in real time together. And so many blessings to you and to yours. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you guys next time.